Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Question: how come two living people are subject when we don't know fully about other person? What you know about other person is not consciousness. If you know something about other person, it's an object of knowledge, not the knower, the conscious being. And therefore, so far as the knower is concerned, the conscious being is concerned, it is one. The moment you say that I see the conscious being there, well, then it becomes object of knowledge. Consciousness cannot become an object of knowledge. Consciousness assumes a form of, as we discussed, it's basically a knower. One gains a status of a knower and knows. We'll be discussing all knower, known, everything is consciousness, but at this moment, let us skip this. So how come two living people are subject when we don't know fully about other person? What you know fully about other person is object of knowledge, right? And therefore, there is one subject. I is only one, capital I. The concept of realizing this knower, I am a bit afraid that I will stop helping other knowers, since the I in them is only awareness and not their body or mind. Yeah. Good question. Yeah, see this, the mixing up. This is called a mixing up. A actor and role mixing up, right? Well, I am actor, I am a billionaire. Why should I become beggar? Why should I become beggar? But he only becomes beggar. He only becomes beggar and begs so well that it brings tears in your eyes also. That's how it is. Yeah. When you want to help others, etc., consciousness help other consciousness cannot be there. One consciousness, we'll be seeing tomorrow. Everything is within one consciousness. Then there is no question of helper helping also. But if you say, no, I want to help, but I cannot help, well, then definitely you are the helper as existing. And the someone else who needs your help also exists. It's a role playing. Would you follow? That is, knowing this will ultimately solve your issues, family issues, I'm telling you. This, once you know that it creates a space between you, the consciousness, the Satchidananda, and your roles in the waking state. That is a sacred space. The space between actor and role in the mind of the actor is a sacred space. He can effectively play any role. And in fact, we have to play the role. And all are our roles. Father is a role. Mother is a role. And issues, all issues are in the role, not in Satchidananda. All issues. You have an issue as a mother, you have an issue as a husband, you have an issue as a mother, father, etc. One simple conscious being who is objective, I discussed in the morning. A basic person is just a conscious being. He assumes varieties of the roles. That conscious being alone becomes father, mother, husband, son. So all keep changing. One person, well, then definitely assumes all these. They are roles. And every role has a problem, definitely. But the basic person is totally comfortable. So knowing this will definitely help you to understand the person more and help also. As a helper, you can help. And as a giver, as a giver, you give. And there is someone who is ready to receiver also. What it takes to put the body in this bucket, 24 by 7 days a week, 24 hours. What it takes to put the body in this bucket? What I understand is how to do this viveka, etc. They want, This is, you see what happens is when you transact in the world, Satchidananda does not transact. There is nothing to transact with. There is one limitless consciousness which is existence and fullness, has nothing to transact with. So definitely in a transaction, the body is involved, right? And so when you transact with the world, definitely you use the body. And you identify with the body and say, I'm an individual, so and so, and transact with the world. Definitely. And transaction is inevitable. If one is living a life, one has to relate to the world. Otherwise, there is no life. Right? Puja Swami used to tell this very well. That, the person who is in a coma, he does not relate to anyone. But then we don't say also that he is living. He is alive, we say. We don't say he is living a life. If you are living a life, means you are relating to the world. You have to relate. There is no way out. Anyway, so while relating, definitely body is involved. Identification of the consciousness, Satchidananda, with the body is there. Mind, etc. Senses will be there. But this particular thing which we are doing right now, we are seeing, that is, for that one has to sit 10 minutes in the morning. Or whenever the time is convenient to you, and see the way we have seen that the physical body, how the physical body is an object of knowledge. So depending upon your past experience, where you all the time give your identity as a human being, as a family member, as a householder, whatever. So definitely everywhere this body is involved, and that body has a certain attributes. And with those attributes also you identify and give your identity to others, and this is there in your awareness also. So only thing is sitting in the morning and doing this viveka between Sthula Sharira and Atma. That's tomorrow we will be seeing more also. And I will give you some points tomorrow how to meditate, how to do a discrimination between Atma and Sthula Sharira. I am saying I will give you everything tomorrow, but I don't know how much we can. This is all false promise. But anyway, let me remember myself. Yeah, but this is very beautifully discussed in Vivek Chudamani also. And here also, fortunately, in this text also, so many verses is a discussion on Sthula Sharira Atma Viveka. So only thing in the morning you have to do. While transacting, you have to identify. At that time, constantly you cannot say, I am not physical body, I am not physical body. That doesn't work. In fact, it will create a confusion in the mind of other people also, that where he has gone, pahunch gaya somewhere. So that is in the morning. And once the transaction is over, well, definitely you can sit again and think over that how this is an object of knowledge, how I am a knower, etc. So 24 by 7 need not be. Of course, there are sleep hours also where there is, in your experience, the body itself is not there. Then where is question of the viveka anyway? We'll talk about this abidance. The question is, how does one practice abidance in the awareness or on a 24 by 7 basis again? Okay. So, see, in a gaining this knowledge, there are three things. First is a listening to the Shastra with the help of a teacher, of course. The Shastra talks through the teacher naturally. So you expose yourself to this teaching. the teacher of self-knowledge, and Upanishad, of course. And first thing is you understand the purport of the Shastra, purport of the Upanishad. Ascertaining the purport, the subject matter, main subject matter of the Upanishad, that is to be ascertained first. That is a first step in gaining this knowledge, self-knowledge, which we call it as a shravanam, listening. But it is a technical word, not just listening. You are listening, of course, and you know what the teacher says. You are listening to the teaching, that is there. But here listening means understanding the purport of the scriptures. You arrive at the basic subject matter of the Upanishad, and that is they call as a Jivatma Paramatma Ikyam. I am the self, or I am Brahman, etc. Or as we discussed in the morning, well, what I want to be, I am, etc. So, I am Satchidananda, etc. So, that is subject matter. So, arriving at the purport of the scriptures, Shastra, through the teacher is called Shravanam. That's the first step. Then second step is you will have a lot of doubts. This is not an ordinary thing. What you experience and what is the subject matter in the Shastra are extremely opposite. And therefore doubts will be there. If they are not there, it is really a person must be very genius. Really. Because perception reveals the entire world is real. And there is nothing called this Brahman. What is this Brahman? There is nothing called Brahman. You have Atma, and that is the substratum, a basis of the entire creation. That's a reality. And what you perceive is basically its appearance, etc. This is a big thing. Shastra says like this, the Jagat is appearance. And what is behind this appearance is the only reality. That is the self. That is I. So itself is a very big thing. Means, and on the other side, perception reveals totally reverse. Perception reveals that the world is real and there is no entity called Brahman. Now please tell me, between these two things, what perception reveals and what a Swami reveals through the scriptures, where will you give weightage? Perception. Perception only. I don't know what Swami is saying is true or not. He may have some agenda. You know? Yeah. He may have some agenda. And therefore doubt must be there. But we don't have doubt. Why are you saying like that? But I am saying doubt will be there. So resolving the doubts is a second step in gaining knowledge. Understanding the purport of the scriptures, teaching, Upanishad, and second thing is, well, the doubts pertaining to the teaching, pertaining to the subject matter. Upanishad reveals this thing, you are clear in Shravanam. But it doesn't mean that I have accepted. My intellect says no. I can't say what is this world is so tangible world is mithya. Appearance. I can't accept. So resolving the doubt is they call reflection. First is a Shravanam, then they call reflection, but resolving the doubt. Third thing is for this abidance, and that is called Nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam is nothing but reliving the teaching, what you have listened, that only you play again. The difference is, while you are listening, well, teacher has used word Atma, teacher has used word self, teacher has used word Brahman, teacher has used word Sat Chit Ananda, etc. Anything. Whatever comes to in the mind of the teacher, he will use. And you have also listened, and you have also taken the entity Atma as a third person. Yeah, when I say Atma, you don't connect to yourself. Atma means mere mein Atma बैठी है. So people say like that. मेरे में आत्मा बैठी है. So, that is Shravanam. In Nididhyasanam, you replace every word. Satchidananda, Brahman, Atma, all these words you replace. Consciousness, you replace by the word I. So it is reliving the teaching. You connect the whole thing, whatever has been discussed regarding Atma in the teaching, you connect it with the I, not even with the self. Sa Atma Tattvamasi Shvetaketo Aitadatma Vidagum Sarvam Sa Atma Tat Satyam Sa Atma Tattvamasi Shvetaketo. Uddalaka said to his son Shvetaketu, this entire world is Eshaha Atma. Idagum Etadatma. Everything is just Atma alone. That alone is the reality. That is Atma, that is the self. But then he didn't stop there. He said, that is you. That worked. That is you. The truth of the entire creation is not Atma. That is not Vedanta. The truth of entire creation is I. But Swamiji, Atma means I, but that you should tell. Atma means I. So this is called, that will bring abundance. Means you definitely drop the misplaced I now. You will drop it. You have an I in the body. Now when you relive this, when you again sit with this teaching and replace the word with the I, definitely from you, this identification with the body, mind, senses slowly drops. And then you get a abidance. Abidance means nothing but a clarity. Clarity regarding one's own nature. That's called abidance. Like I have an abidance right now in the body. Therefore, even if you ask me, suppose I'm sleeping and you just wake me up and you ask, who are you? I will say, I'm a human being or I'm a sannyasi, whatever. So much abidance in the body. So clear. Right? That way, this person doing Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam ultimately will say, I am Satchidananda. Whether he says or not, he is clear. Actor all the time doesn't declare, I am actor, I am actor, I am actor. Right? In his understanding, he has abidance in the, while playing even role. That is the thing. How to have a calm, equanimous mind while the body is in chronic pain? Very difficult. Very difficult. What happens is generally when we don't have any, or when our body, etc., is quite healthy, we don't cultivate all these values of equanimity, etc. And when such situation occur, then immediately we realize that we have to do this. And that time it is very difficult. Let me tell you very frankly, I don't have any method while there is a chronic pain, acute pain, and still you will have an equanimity. If you have established, if you have developed the equanimity of the mind in a normal condition, then it would remain. Then it would remain. Definitely it would remain. But to develop in this particular condition, acute pain, etc., it is difficult. It's very difficult. Only thing is one can divert one's mind. That much we can do, and that to an degree. To an extent, you can definitely divert your mind. But bringing equanimity of the mind is a very big, one requires very big homework of karma yoga, etc. And that is to be done when the body is healthy. In a healthy condition, we generally don't bother about all these things. Yeah. Being in the field of medicine, surrounded by bodily diseases and suffering, how to identify the self in daily life? Same issue. So very difficult. So that's how when everything is in a proper condition, when the body is really healthy, etc., one should strive for this knowledge. One should definitely strive. That's how Bhartrihari says. So, in Vairagya Shatakam, he says very beautifully that people actually spend the whole life in mundane pursuits, etc. And when the time comes to go, or when such a condition occurs, at that time you remember all these things, and that doesn't work. What is the difference between Upanishad, Vedas and Gita? So, Upanishad is a part, of course, Veda, but still, when they talk like this, Veda Vedanta. They talk like this. Even though Upanishad is a part of Veda, still, the reason is the subject matter is very distinct. When we say Veda, then we definitely mean that the Purva Bhaga of the Veda, the Karma Kanda, etc., which subject matter is karma, Vedic karmas. And mainly rituals and certain meditations on Ishvara. So that is Veda. Vedanta subject matter is this Brahman or Atma. And since the subject matter is different in Jnana Kanda, Vedanta, we mention separately. Like generally one book has one subject matter. Main subject matter is one. But here the subject matter is entirely different. And if subject matter is different, then studying the subject matter, gaining the knowledge of that subject matter will definitely give a different result. Like knowing about rituals will not give any benefit. Knowing the rituals and then performing the rituals will give the benefit. Whereas in our case, Vedanta, knowing the Atma serves the purpose. Knowing that you are free, if you know that you are free, it's freedom. It's not that knowing Atma well, then slowly freedom will appear. No. Atma is already free. Because of confusion, I take myself as a limited, bound person. So if you gain clarity that yes, I am free, that's freedom. Knowing I am free is freedom. Therefore, there is nothing else required in order to gain the phalam, result. So two types of knowledges are there, but one definitely requires, say, performance. The other does not require anything. Well, so this is the difference. Phalam is different. Definitely the person who approaches both are different. The person who is a mature person, emotionally mature person, and one who knows the limitations of all the three pursuits called Artha, Kama and Dharma, and who has discovered that really what I really am in search of is this moksha alone. Well, that person is basically a mature person. And the person who approaches a karma kanda, well, he has a lot of desires. He has a lot of desires to fulfill in terms of artha kama. So, well, he's still immature. And therefore, the people who approach, the adhikari we call, that is also different. Subject matter different. The phalam is different, the result is different, the qualified people for both are different, etc. And therefore the connection also is different. The knowledge of karma kanda and the sadhya, the phalam, well, are not directly connected. You have to perform, etc. And here it is directly connected, like that. This is called Anubandha Chatushtaya. So, and therefore, the Purva Bhaga of the Veda and the later portion of the Veda, well, both have Anubandha Chatushtaya different. And that's how we call Veda Vedanta. Even though Vedanta is nothing but the Vedasya Antaha, the end portion of the Veda, still we make a difference between the two. And so this is, we call as a Shruti Prasthanam. Shruyate iti Shrutihi. That which is heard directly from the teacher. That is, Vedas are called Shruti. Bhagavad Gita is a Smriti. Bhagavan has heard in Sandipani and he remembered the teaching and he told, from his memory, he told to Arjuna. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, several verses are basically as though Bhagavan has bodily lifted from Kathopanishad. Yaschai, what is that? Yenam vetti hantaram, yaschainam manyate hatam, ubhautaun vijanitah, nayam hantina hanyate. Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidenam, ascharyavat vadati tathaiva chanyah, ascharyavat chaina manya shrunoti, shrutva penam vedana chaiva kashit. These are the verses. As a mantra, they are there in Kathopanishad. There is a little difference. So, this is that shows that Bhagavan is basically teaching what the already Upanishad is teaching. So, Bhagavan is teaching from his memory as though. So, that's how Bhagavad Gita is called Smriti. Smriti. Smriti means memory. And like that, there are Smritis also. Other Smritis also are there, which basically derives its teaching from the Moolam, Veda only, from the main source. So that is the difference between Upanishad and Gita. Okay, let's talk something more about this. Upanishad basically, main teaching, as I told you, is this Brahma Vidya or Atmajnana. Bhagavad Gita has other subject matter also. Upanishad, you may find some meditations, that is there. Some meditations are talked in Prashna Upanishad, in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, in Chandogya, everywhere. Meditations are there because meditations will definitely give you a certain focusing capacity, which is very essential to retain this knowledge. If you don't have a depth, you cannot retain. If it is shallow, then you cannot retain. This meditations, etc., varieties of meditations, give you a certain depth. So even after receiving, you need to retain. If you can't retain and you just receive, you cannot assimilate. For assimilation, retention is important. And therefore, in order to gain a retention capacity, meditations are done. So you will be able to absorb. It gives you a certain depth. And so you will be able to retain the subject matter and then, of course, assimilate it. In Nididhyasanam, I told you. So, So in Bhagavad Gita, there are other things also. That is how iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. So two topics. Brahma Vidya, of course, is there. But also Yoga Shastra means Karma Yoga, etc. Another. Bhakti Yoga is not a separate yoga. Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Hatha Yoga. There are 4 paths and each one independently leads to moksha. No, that's not true. Bhakti is a common environment in which this Jnanam, Karma and Upasanas are done. Bhakti means a devotion. Devotion is nothing but a love for the higher principle. That's called devotion. Love between two people is a love. But love for the higher principle is called bhakti. That's how we have word Matru Bhakti, Pitru Bhakti, Desha Bhakti. All are higher principles. So that is devotion, bhakti. So along with the Shraddha, reverence, faith and love, that environment is there in the person. That's the environment of a bhakti, devotion for the Ishvara. And with that environment, he offers karma. He offers his karma to the world, looking upon him as a Ishvara. That's called Karma Yoga. And he meditates on Ishvara, right? With the same environment. You can meditate only when you have love. Otherwise, how will you? So anyway, so Upasana also is done in the same atmosphere. And Jnanam, you want to know him as oneself, as the Atma. Definitely you have love for that. And therefore, Bhakti is a common environment for all the 3 disciplines. There is no separate 4th discipline called Bhakti Yoga. No. So Yoga Shastra means basically all this. Karma Yoga and then other things which are there. The values have been told in the 13th chapter. So, what is that? Amanitvam, Adambitvam, Ahimsa, Kshantihi, Arjavam, Acharya Upasanam, etc., etc. And Bhagavan talks about what kind of a food you should take, what are the gunas, sattva-guna, rajoguna, tamoguna, what are its effect. You cannot see the gunas, but then what are its effect in the mind? All these things are also subject matter. And also the subject matter of a wise person, how the wise person behaves, etc. All this. So Bhagavad Gita and Upanishad in terms of subject matter, little addition in Bhagavad Gita. Some more things are there. Upanishad talks about the purport is only revealing Brahman as self. That's it, nothing else. For that purpose, even creation is introduced. So that ultimately, to make you understand that what is there in this creation is ultimately one thing alone. So Brahman has been shown as a material cause of the creation. Being a material cause, it pervades every fact. And well, thereby they say this name and form is mithya, etc. So that is there, but the purport is only Brahma Vidya. Whereas in Bhagavad Gita, other things are also there. How do you make amends with turbulent or difficult past events? Self-realization? No, definitely not. If to a certain extent our Bhagavad Gita can help, but if it is very difficult past event, then one should definitely take help of a psychiatrist, which involves a certain processing, etc., bringing out unconscious. So it all depends what is the degree of turbulence. So based on that. But self-realization is impossible. One need not try at all. With such a disturbed mind, the self-realization takes place only when your mind is very serene, etc. When a lot of purity. It needs a lot of purity. Otherwise it doesn't occur that way. Everything is mithya. But to say everything is mithya is one thing, and to have an understanding is different. And such a turbulent mind where the events are so real for the person, every event, whatever has happened in the life, are so real. So just to dismiss it as a mithya is not a easy job. First, the reality of the creation has to be brought down to a bare minimum, and then it should be knocked up as a mithya. So, I would advise, depending, I don't know, the person can meet me tomorrow and we can discuss after lunch. What is the difference between eye and brain, and how are they different? This is question, I don't know how this question occurred itself. Eye and brain. Eye and mind, it is a different thing. But the scientist and we are, on the different ends now. Because brain has come so. They say this consciousness is a product of the brain. Matter is basically, brain or matter is the reality. And consciousness or life appears in the matter. That's true, right? Earlier only matter was there, and then life slowly emerged. Therefore, they say life emerged means consciousness emerged. And so consciousness has emerged now, and there is a life, and there will be a time when this sun explosion will happen, supernova and all that. And the whole life will come to an end. The whole earth will be consumed. So the consciousness appears in between and goes away. Matter always remains. Therefore, matter is satyam. Consciousness, which is incidental, is a property of the brain. That's how they say. And we say, no. Consciousness, matter does not swallow consciousness. Consciousness swallows the matter. That's our thing. And so we are at the loggerheads, basically. But we don't fight. We definitely take help of them. And they are not, that is how there is what is that, nowadays lot of in discussion between scientific groups also. What is that, what is of consciousness they call? Hard problem of consciousness, correct. Hard problem of consciousness. It's going on. But one thing I would tell you, now the scientists are accepting that this matter also is not a really independent thing. That's how they are now slowly coming down. But they would definitely will not accept consciousness as the independent principle which enlivens or lends existence to the matter, etc. That is very difficult for them, because consciousness is something which is not available for demonstration. Atma is something, being a subject, is not available for demonstration. One who wants to demonstrate that is the consciousness. And therefore you cannot demonstrate like this. Now, ashabdam, asparsham, arupam, arasam, nityam, gandavat, etc., etc., not available for perception at all. Then there is a question of inference, etc. also. So, Atma is something, self is something, consciousness is something which is not available to the human means of knowledge. And therefore, if you cannot demonstrate, they will not accept it also. And we don't mind. Let them do what they are doing. That's fine. We are very happy with what are they doing. Whenever we need some help, we'll take them. We'll take certain principles they discover. We take them. Like we talk about Maya, we definitely take their help. Yeah. They also say everything is reduced to, matter reduces to energy. Well, fine. Shakti. So the whole matter, this entire cosmos with the names and forms, in unmanifest form is called Maya. So we are happy. But that is the final thing for them. That is the final thing. 3 or 4 forms of energy ultimately, they say. And that alone manifests as the matter. Matter reduces to energy. We take help somewhere else also. Like the law of conservation of matter. Right? So law of conservation of matter says that matter does not get destroyed at all. It transforms to energy, energy transforms to matter, but never gets destroyed. Wonderful. Bhagavan said in 2nd chapter, without telling it is a law of conservation of matter. Yeah? Avyaktadini bhutani, vyaktamadhyani bharata, avyakta nidhananyeva tatraka paridevana. 8th chapter again Bhagavan repeated. Avyaktat vyaktaya sarvaha prabhavanti aharagame ratragame praliyante tatraiva avyakta sanyake. This vyakta, the manifest world, which is a product, the jagat, universe, well, in a potential condition, which is a causal state, it is Maya, Shakti. And that Shakti alone manifests in the form of jagat. Maya alone manifests in the form of jagat. So we take their help, but they will not accept what we are saying. But anyway, difference between I and brain. I and mind should be there, but brain is a part of the gross body. And well, being a part of the gross body made up of gross elements. Where I, the consciousness, is not made up of elements, is not created at all. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam purana. Everything is created, manifest in consciousness. Everything borrows the existence, etc., from consciousness. And therefore, there is no question of equating I and brain. Anyway, but I and mind also that we saw. I and mind, suppose mind, they don't accept scientists, but we. So I and mind also cannot be equated, because mind is object of knowledge and I am the one who illumines the object of knowledge, which lends existence to the mind, etc. That part we will be seeing tomorrow. But so that way, difference between I and brain are very different. Brain is inert. It cannot reveal itself. I, the consciousness, reveals itself, etc., etc. That is consciousness, and that is inert. Brain has a certain properties. I, the consciousness, is free from all the properties, attributes, like that. Brain has birth and death. I, the consciousness, has no birth and death. Like that we can tell few differences. what is that? During meditation today, we started with Sharira Vikshanam. Sharira Vikshanam or Prana Vikshanam? Sharira Vikshanam, I said. I don't think I have said Sharira Vikshanam. We introduce witnessing the breath, etc., from head to feet. No, that is, I said that to create an objectivity to the body. Because the purpose of meditation is to unload every other thing from your head other than Lord, a form of Lord. So you can bring the form of the Lord, you can relate to the Lord mentally, which is called meditation, only when your mind from your mind everything has gone. So a certain, that's how is people with whom you are related every day, they remain in the head, even though they are out, maybe living 50 miles away from here, but they all the time remain here. So when you sit for meditation, they alone appear. And you react, etc. also, depending upon. So you have to unload them. So when they are there in the head, means they are the objects of our complaint, demands, some wish, some change in the person. So they remain there all the time. So only thing is when you drop the demand and grant the freedom to the person, he remains outside. So that's how we did that, accepting the person as it is in the meditation, etc. Same way body also. We have a complaint for our body also. Several complaints in terms of color or height or age or whatever. And therefore, that is also to be viewed objectively. That's how I said, you see from head to the toes, etc. You visualize your body. And in one sweep of vision, like a breathing statue. And when you do that, your own body, you visualize like a breathing statue, then definitely you have objectified it. And you say, this is how my body is. So you are granting freedom for the body what it is at this moment. Later you can work out whatever you want to do, you can do. But at this moment. So then the body will not bother you during meditation. Some complaints, etc., you have kept it aside. So for that purpose, Sharira Vikshanam, from head to feet. Is there any difference we do from toes to head? No. No difference. From toes to head or head to toes. It is same. Also, which is better to focus attention? Which is better to focus attention on heart region versus image of Lord, or head and image of Lord, heart region versus Agnya Chakra? But the question is where we should focus our attention. He or she showing some alternatives. Basically, in Bhagavatam, this is like that when you visualize a Lord, first you should visualize him from head to toes, and from toes to head, and then only head part, or only toes, only the feet you should visualize. So this is how in Bhagavatam it has been said, but not on Agnya Chakra and some heart and etc. That kind of meditation somewhere else may be there, but we don't have that kind of a thing. Questions are over? Yes?
So Swamiji, my question is, how do I know that I exist when there is no experience and there is no conclusion faulty conclusion about the experience, such as when I'm dead, upon death, and I have no memory. And you did explain memory in the morning, right? But how do I know that I existed when I died?
Well, because the consciousness was there, is there, will be there. Even when you go to sleep, your body has gone out of experience, memory has gone out of experience, everything has gone out of experience, including time and space. In fact, entire world has gone out of your experience, right?
Yes.
Whether you exist or not in deep sleep state.
No, that is because when I wake up, then I know that I had a peaceful sleep.
My point is, when the body, etc., also is not there in your experience, you exist independently or not.
Yes.
Then why not after death?
But that relation is different because
Why different?
Because my body did not actually burn or cremate or bury or whatever.
No. I'm talking about consciousness. When the entire body, everything, including you don't have any experience, pranas also. It is going on, but it is not there in your experience.
No.
Right? Total
Yes.
blankness.
Yes.
Total blankness.
Yeah.
Then what's the difference between the death and the deep sleep state?
Because
You as a conscious entity, consciousness, definitely exist in absence of all the things.
yes.
That's how you say everything was absent.
yes.
The consciousness exists independent of everything.
yes.
Then why not after death of the body?
Because when I'm born again, according to our Hindu shastras, when I'm
You
born
will
again,
realize in form of a I, that aham vritti. For that you need a subtle body, and that subtle body also can function when you get a gross body. It cannot function independently. So for that purpose, well, you need a body for manifestation, and thereby you understand that I am a consciousness, etc., or I am there, etc. Well, you need a body. We don't deny it. But if it is not there, body is not there, I cease to exist or I manifest to exist. I don't manifest. What do you think?
No, I understand.
No,
I
no,
understand,
my point
and
is-
I agree with you. But
My point is, suppose this bulb goes off. Electricity is there or not?
yes,
Why it should be there? Because the bulb has gone.
but that's electricity.
Yeah.
We're talking about consciousness.
But that is also your experience, and deep sleep state also is your experience.
Yes.
Then why are you denying?
I'm not denying. I'm just trying to
No.
prove.
I am telling you that consciousness is something which is independent principle,
yes.
right? If it is independent principle, the death of the body, why should it bring a death of the consciousness?
I don't know.
That's all. So you should know. You should know.
Hold on.
So you as though connect with the body, as though it's a part of the body, or maybe a property of the body, part, product, or property of the body. Then the death of if it is a part of the body, consciousness is a part of the body, death of the body will bring the death of the consciousness, which is a part. When the whole goes away, part also goes away. And when substance goes away, its property also goes away. Suppose the consciousness is the property of the body, let us say. So, good. No, consciousness is not a part of the body. That's what we were seeing in the evening also. But anyway, what I am saying is it's an independent principle. And it lends existence to the entire anatma prapancha, including the body. Therefore, body, etc., does not have independent existence. Consciousness has independent existence. So that's a relationship, Satyamithya relationship has to be understood. Then in that case, what is Satyam, what is real, cannot be negated in all the 3 periods of time. That's a yukti. But experience of deep sleep state itself proves that, well, in absence of all the 3, all that is there in the world, in absence of that, still the consciousness exists to witness the absence of everything. Therefore, after death also, why should not it exist? Could you follow? Because consciousness is independent principle, understand. It is not part of body, not property of the body, not product of the body. Any product will die if the cause dies away. If body is a cause for bringing the consciousness into manifestation, then definitely, once consciousness is generated from the body, not manifestation, but generated. And in that case, if body dies, consciousness dies. So, point is, we should understand consciousness as an independent principle, not related to. Yeah, body, etc., they are there for manifestation. But if they are not there for manifestation, it remains in unmanifest form. Why it should not remain?
Kind of two questions. In the previous session, you said that mind, the consciousness behind, or the self, observes the mind. But there is certain, from my perspective, I do want to believe, and I kind of, in a sense, accept without proof that everything is right. But at the same time, it's a kind of a presumption for those who have not gone through that experience that there is something behind. You try to explain that logically, but at the same time, to put the question simply, if I assume that there is nothing behind that is driving the observation, you can come to the conclusion also that maybe mind is observing itself. There is nothing else behind it. Why can't we settle with that conclusion that mind is observing itself and it's not something else behind that is observing the mind?
But we never say behind. You are there. Where is behind?
Right. So
you are the one who is witnessing the thoughts. Because basically, thoughts, if thoughts are self-illumining, then they are aware of by themselves.
Right. Why can't that investigation stop there, but why it is going to the next level where there is self behind it, which is trying to seek outside, and that's how the mind comes into action?
See, the reality of self is this mind, etc., are non-separate from the self. In fact, self alone manifests in the form of mind, senses, body, and everything. Right? So then there is a question of there is something is there or not, only mind is there and there is no behind, etc. Because this is, you feel this is independent and self is something which is independent and that is trying to witness or something. There is no mind other than self. There is no mind. Where is thought without consciousness? So self alone manifests in the form of his mind, appears in the form of mind, senses, body, and the entire world. That's what we say. So in that case, don't keep this kind of a thing. Two things. Mind, and there is some illuminator which I don't want to believe, etc. There are no two things. There are no two things at all.
Right, but you said the self or the consciousness brings mind into existence because it is trying to seek outward.
Why consciousness should seek outward? What is there to seek if consciousness is limitless?
Because there is an external object out there.
No.
That's when we want
My
to seek
point
about
is, consciousness being one, limitless, what is else to seek for the consciousness?
Because there is you gave the analogy of subject and object. So there is an object, that's why the consciousness is trying to seek the knowledge about the object.
We are talking about the knower. The reality or the content of the knower is consciousness. At that level, I'm going to show tomorrow, it is just limitless. Everything exists in that, and everything exists in that, well, which has a dependent existence. Therefore, it is mithya. And that is non-separate from the consciousness. And therefore, there is no other thing to illumine. There is something else through the mind to seek outside, etc. So consciousness is lying somewhere, and the world is somewhere else, and the consciousness is a seeker, world is that is to be sought. That is not there at all.
Okay.
That is what. So consciousness is one which is limitless.
Okay.
So from knower, or the awarer, etc., we go to its content. And when we go to the content, we find it is one, limitless.
Okay.
So
if you have still doubt after class tomorrow, let me complete tomorrow's class regarding this consciousness. And then still if you have doubt, please we'll meet after lunch.
Swamiji, this is a practical question.
All
so
questions are practical, Paya.
okay, so what will happen after I will die? Is there any information like how do I know whether, because I have heard that some people can
Now
become
that itself is a mistake. I will die. Okay. Right.
but I have heard that people can become ghosts or they can also get a human birth. Or how is it possible to make sure that
What is the reality of the I which we are discussing? Where is death?
the death of the body?
Then why are you worrying? What will happen to I if I die? You said.
So
The
one,
death of the body is death of the body.
so one should not strive for moksha.
But you better know that you are immortal. That's it. Then you can walk off. Really? Really? Honestly, one who has understood that I am Satchidananda has nothing to do. Nothing to do but just to eat and sleep and nothing else. The purpose of the life is served. Please understand this. What struggle we are having today is for existence. The death of the fear of death is throughout the life. Fear of mortality, fear of my existence comes to decimation is throughout the life. Just by identifying with the body. If I get some disease, I will die. Who gets the disease? This is what we should ask. Who gets disease? Body gets disease or Atma gets disease? That's how we have to do the Vivek. So if I will die, that itself is a wrong question. Okay?
Thank you.
Better we should know. Point is, we should know the self, which is self-evident, self-existent, should be known as it is. Vedanta says, well, you have not to strive too much because it is self-revealing. Everything is revealed to the self. Everything is revealed to the self. In any experience, what is present is consciousness. What is the experience available without consciousness? Please tell me. So the very content of the every experience is consciousness. Better you pay attention to that. Any experience, consciousness is ever present. That's how Kenopanishad says, Pratibodha viditam matam, bodham bodham prati yad viditam. In every cognition, in every thought, it is present. The whole mind being non-separate from consciousness is all the time soaked in consciousness. As though. And therefore, it's not some kind of some special experience you require. You have to pay attention to the invariable factor. In every cognition, there is a variable factor and there is invariable factor. Variable factor is mithya, whereas names and forms in every cognition, sound cognition, this cognition, that cognition. But that becomes a cognition, that thought becomes a cognition due to the consciousness which illumines the thought. And that is invariable, present. So I am an invariable factor, non-negatable factor in every cognition, in every experience. I am a non-negatable factor. Experience vary, but that's the part belong to the world, etc. varies. I am invariable factor. So that is how best thing is to know the reality of oneself. That is where we have to pay our attention. Okay, nice. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.